Gotta help us. You gotta help us. Anyway, hi everybody. Nice to be here.
Hey, good
Having
morning,
a little
y'all.
chat with Nick, my boy Nick. Great to be on your show today, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing, Dean, I'm doing really well. It's been a good week. It's been a good week for me. I cannot complain. Um, I can complain about some of the stupidity that's going on this week. Because, shit
It's
is
pretty
stupid.
universal now.
But yeah, that's like, I don't know what else to do other than complain about stupid shit half the time because they're just stupid. And it's idiocracy. We're living through the dumbest timeline. Like I have this theory that it's a dumb theory and it's not real, but I have this theory that Harambe was the reason all of this happened. Like Harambe
Oh,
died
that poor monkey.
and then everything went fucking bad after that. Like poor monkey died. Um the Planet of the Apes leadership got really pissed off, and their little risk game or civ game of humans, they're like, well, fuck them. And they put Big Orange Monkey in charge and said, yes, go take. Um, and now we're stuck with this big, stupid orange monkey who is just fucking ridiculous. How are you doing
Yeah,
today, Dean?
yeah. Always love talking to you, Nick. You know what? I'm great. I was just saying before we got on, it's a writing day for me, so I try to segment my days into Mondays heavy with podcasts and Substack Live. So this Monday we did three: Pete Dominic, Terrence Goggin, who's great, West Point professor. I love the guy. And then, of course, the regular five stack. Yesterday, we bumped out one that was pretty timely as well. A little bit of writing. Today's mostly writing and a live. And then Friday's a bunch of lives. And so I wanted to squeeze in some time with you, Nick. We've been threatening to do this for a while. You're one of my favorite Americans. I've got so many new, beautiful American friends now that Substack has given me. I think, three-quarters of my audience is American as well. And I think that there's an appreciation for that partnership, that friendship between two countries, specifically the like-minded citizens of both countries that appreciate democracy, each other, and we can see the forest through the trees. Meaning, we're not buying the mag American bullshit. We're still buying the American dream because that's the Canadian dream, and we're brothers and sisters. So I'm pumped to be here with you today, pal.
Hell yeah. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head, though, is it's not just the American dream, it's the North American dream, I
Sure.
think. Because we were we were supposed to be bastions of democracy. Canada's living up to it right now. Y'all are doing some good shit. Like Mark Carney coming out.
We're killing it right now.
Yeah, Mark Carney coming out yesterday at the UN. Like, I hate the UN. I think they're useless most of the time. Like, they're bought off corrupt individuals who allow fucking oppression and a genocide to be going on in Palestine. They've allowed shit to happen all over the world. Nobody in the UN has thought to come into the US and be like, hey, y'all need some election regulations because shit is going wrong. Or y'all need some help because you're fucking stupid. But no, people are like, oh, the UN, the UN. Well, Mark Carney came in and told everybody in the UN that America is fucking stupid and fallen behind, and nobody should follow our example anymore because we're that drunk uncle that shoots people and rapes kids. Like, that is our image around the world, is we're that drunk, creepy uncle that nobody
Yeah.
fucking wants to be around. And Canada's sitting here going, bordering on a fascist state, which is why I called it this, because we're turning into that fascist state. Is
Hmm.
how does it feel, Dean, to live just north of now the largest
Meth
semi-fascist
house.
country in the world?
Robin Williams once called Canadians the people that lived on top of the meth house, the meth lab. Um, God, I miss Robin Williams. Listen, you know what? It's been odd. I know this is something. It's not something we've touched on. I've had you on our show a couple of times. I've been on yours with Freddie, which was awesome.
Hmm.
And we never really touch on the nuance involved here between the United States, the people of the United States, the people of Canada, and the extreme damage that Donald Trump has done to that relationship. And so I put out a post this week because Ipsos, who is a North American wide famous research company, does analytics and research, big sample sizes, put out a really shocking post that made me sad, at the same time justified all of my behaviors and yours. It was that 60 to 70% of Canadians in that kind of bucket will never trust Americans again. And that made me initially, I was like, oh, there's a great piece to show my American friends so that they can see the damage that their president has done to this hallowed and holy relationship we've had for 250 years. But pardon me, my phone just flipped over to the camera. Um, but it also made me incredibly sad because I don't feel that way. I still trust Americans, the large majority of people that I know, friend groups that I have, but we think in nuance where some Canadians don't. Um, we still love Americans. We still trust Americans. We don't trust America. We don't trust the president. We don't trust the Trump regime. We don't trust anybody that purports the ideology of evangelical terrorism. Canada's a very secular, critical thought, kind of critical path country where, we have lots of time and patience for people that have certain faiths, but the second you take those faiths to the front of my door, and the second you get in my way on the way coming home in some kind of faith based protest, you have to go to jail for it. It's called the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. And we really separated church from state here in Canada, and watching what's going on in the United States, where they're literally trying to weld church and state together behind the Trump regime, because if it doesn't exist, neither does he, neither does the movement, neither does the GOP. So, that factors into the lack of respect. The annexation talk factors into the lack of respect. All the 51st state bullshit. The hordes of maggots like Jack Posobiec, who, decry us as a commie state and we kill our own, and, we're a tyrannical state, which is fascinating to me because they're supporting a dude that is currently taking over the United States of America with a fully funded ICE police force that is funded twice as much as the Canadian military, beating the shit out of people door to door. We're seeing it every day. It's a war crime, crimes against humanity worthy. And so, there are really sad parts in there, and the visuals play, and we live in a visual society where memes matter, 30-second videos matter, violence matters. A death cult rally in the place of a memorial for Charlie Kirk matters. The perception matters. That perception goes the other way, where Trump is trying to show everybody America is sick and tired of the shit and they're not taking it anymore. We don't see that in Canada. We don't see that as strength. We see that as weakness. Marcus Aurelius, who's one of my favorite authors, scholars, philosophers, human being, in the pantheon of leadership worldwide, our entire history, he was one of the greats. He said something incredible. He's like, all cruelty springs from weakness. Canada is not a cruel country. We think, empathy is strength. We think giving up your privilege is strength. We're very multicultural that way. Most of us are anyway. We've got a couple derelict provinces in the middle of Canada who really are not that multicultural, but we embrace it. And so America really has started to represent visually and perceptionally a police state. It's Russia, it's China. I mean, and that's a mind fuck for Canadians too. So we feel, like we've been shafted. We feel like we've been rugged, but we also have enormous sympathy. And this is the difference between a lot of people that are screaming at the United States while America screams back from Canada to the United States. The fuck you and the fuck you. We're bigger. No, we're better. I don't buy any of that bullshit. We just have the ability to be able to separate, what Donald Trump means to America, what he's done to America, and the vast majority of Americans. And we love those people, Nick, and that's a fact.
I'm glad to hear that, Dean, because I mean, I really appreciate the fact that you come on and hang out with me, that I've gotten the chance to come on and hang out with
Mm,
you and Zev and Lev and half the folks that I've been watching for like years now, or at least over a year, and just getting to know what you guys are doing. It's amazing to be a part of that and get the chance to like support that work and build on it. Um, is what are your opinions after yesterday? Like, let's just take yesterday for
Well,
what
there's a lot of
happened at the
stuff that
UN.
happened yesterday, Nick. So you're gonna have to be more
Yep,
specific. We
yep.
had Donald Trump blaming the escalator on the deep state and the escalator. The deep state wrecked the teleprompter. He told the entire free world their countries suck and they're all going to hell, and he's the smartest and they're the dumbest. Then we had calls to arrest whoever stopped the escalator. By the way, it was one of his people by mistake. Whoever broke the teleprompter, by the way, it was one of his people by mistake. So you let me know where you want to start because we also had Mark Carney walk in and just big dick the UN
Let's
and
start with Mark
bring
Carney.
everybody. All right, let's start there.
Because
Um,
I don't care about Donald Trump. He's a giant turd and piece of shit. And I'm tired of giving him like any limelight. And I think that's part of the
yeah,
problem is he still thinks he's important and people still believe that he's big, bad, and like cool, but he's not. He's just a fucking baby. He's a
yeah,
whiny piece of shit. So let's start with
yeah.
Mark
I put out a
Carney.
post today. I called him the whiniest bitch in America, which he is.
Yeah, I
And
think
happy to.
I restacked that one and I quoted my favorite millennial artist Taylor Swift is it's me. I'm the problem. It's me. And we all know it. We all know he's the problem because he's the fucking idiot that does all this shit. So let's start with Mark Carney and
Okay.
then I want to go into how does it feel knowing that all of your friends are now fake terrorists and or freedom fighters?
Those are a couple of great questions there and a little bit to unpack. You know, life in a split screen is fascinating, right? We only know how bad things are when we see an alternative. And Canada has, the same Maple MAGA movement, and they all hate Mark Carney just by proxy because he ran for the leadership, the head of the Liberal Leadership Party. And, just like in the United States, there's a war against libs, libtards, whatever you want to fucking call anybody that doesn't agree with MAGA. We have the same small faction up here. Mark Carney doesn't play that. The previous prime minister, Justin Trudeau, did, but he was a drama teacher and he sucked too. So, anyway, long story short, Mark Carney came in and had to deal with an economy that was in trouble, had to deal with culture war that was tearing this country apart at the same time. But the unity that came from that split screen of seeing what Donald Trump was doing and the importance of having a professional diplomat, an economist with a PhD who's the head of two different banks, so Canada, Bank of England, with an impeccable record, service record. He was fiscally very conservative, socially very liberal. It appealed to all of us and all the people that were like, I hate Justin Trudeau, and I count myself to be one of them, even though I had very social leaning perspectives, socially aware. Call me woke. I don't care what you call me. I don't have a party that I vote for. I don't have a party that I'm a member of. I am apolitical. And I saw the values of this man, and the rest of Canada did, and we turned our brains on, voted for him, and boom, all of a sudden we've got this split screen, and then Donald Trump becomes, the prime minister, and what does he do? Or sorry, the president, he immediately starts coming after Canada. And with this calm demeanor, Mark Carney, every time he responds so strategically, so stoically, with so much power and strength in such a calm, reserved way of delivering his content and his message that he immediately became the anti-hero against the MAGA movement. I call him the MAGA killer because he's thoughtful. He's a practicing stoic. His values and his virtues are bulletproof. He's doing this at a great financial loss to himself so that he can turn Canada around and and recuse us from the dependence that we've all had on the United States for far too long because you got a fucking mad king that's running the place, right? So that has been incredible. But in these incremental moments, you're seeing such an unbelievable difference. He walked into the UN the other day after being threatened by Netanyahu, after being threatened by Donald Trump for more tariffs if he declared Gaza its own sovereign state. And he didn't say no. He didn't negotiate. He didn't talk about it. He said he was going to do it, walked into the UN, declared Palestine its own state, as did 132 other fucking countries because they felt like they had the support of Mark Carney, Canada, France, England, and other countries who can call a spade a spade. The Bibi Netanyahu misrepresents the Israeli people, that Bibi Netanyahu is a war criminal, and that he is committing genocide against the Gazans. He also separated the idea that Hamas and Gaza are the same thing. He wants the eradication of Hamas and the freedom of the people of Palestine to live in peace and security as he does the people of Israel. So the nuance there was very important. And it left everybody stunned and brought the UN to its feet. The UN came to its feet. Then, shortly after that, he went to the Council on Foreign Relations with Tom Froman, and he did an hour-long sit-down. And he basically laid out his plan for Canada. And his plan for Canada was that everybody who's not a reliable partner can come with us, with our values, with our intentions to support democracy, Canadian values, wisdom, courage, temperance, all the things that make you a human being, all the things that make us better people, with our raw materials as we rebuild our military, as we rebuild this country and literally sever the ties. He called it a rupture with the United States, not tension, not transition, a rupture, meaning it is irreparable at the moment and it is over. And he again brought, all the members of the UNGA to their feet. And he received over 700 requests for interviews, conversations, meetings with CEOs, world leaders. He is the most in demand leader in the fucking free world at the moment. Now, let's contrast that. Okay. Let's
Hmm.
contrast that with what we saw yesterday through the eyes of one Donald J. Trump, who showed up late, was pissed off that the escalator didn't work, started his speech by complaining about the escalator not working. The only thing he ever got from the UN was a broken escalator and a broken teleprompter. And he was going to speak from the heart because he didn't have a teleprompter, and he didn't. So, what came from the heart from him? 55 minutes of a resume that doesn't exist, 17 trillion in my I've defeated inflation. Mortgages are cheaper than they've
Well,
ever
you can
been.
defeat inflation when you don't report it. I mean, if there's no reporting mechanism, of course it's defeated. There's
Sure.
nothing
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
right? That's how
Yeah.
that works. It's like a disease. It's like diseases. Like if you don't report them, they don't happen. Like the
Yeah.
measles outbreaks that are going to start coming, as long as we don't report them, there's no measles outbreaks
Yeah,
in
dude,
America.
I heard about a new nightmare virus that's brewing in the southern states right now because vaccination rates have plummeted over the past 5 years, and they're like, it's going to be bad. I'm like, well, it doesn't exist if you don't talk about it. To your point. And Trump literally ended his press conference by saying at the UN that I'm really smart. I know what's going on. You don't. And God bless the United States of America. Peace out. Mic drop. Fuck you. Put those two side by side. Put both of those side by side. And at the end of it, watch them both. Watch one after the other. Fuck, watch 5 minutes of one and 5 minutes of the other. And tell me where your comfort level sits if you have to choose a fighter.
Yeah. Who's the reliable leader here and who's actually going to tell you the truth? And it's not the orange idiot who's been lying to us for over 10 years. Like, yeah, just like COVID. They said it'll magically disappear because they weren't going to report it until people started fucking dying everywhere. And over a million people
Strange.
died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, like,
it's the same, dude, and it's the same reason why he fired the BLS
mhm.
chair. It's the same reason why he got rid of everybody. Same reason why he unloaded that Who Commits Extreme Violence, the right or the left study from the White House website. It's the same
Just
reason why
deleted
he
it.
got rid of all of the crypto investigators and the child trafficking investigators, because if you don't know about it, it doesn't exist. And then what he does is he fills the air with some of the most asinine shit in the world. And here's the thing, it is getting so much worse. It is getting so much more unbelievable. From 1 trillion, from 950 billion to 1 trillion to 7 trillion. Yesterday was 17 trillion. Your GDP is 29 trillion, by the way. I mean, these stories he tells you, and I want to remind everybody, you talk about the quality of character, Carney versus Donald Trump. I don't know if anybody's here listening has ever been conned by a con man. I have, unfortunately, years ago. And not to the extent that it caused me extreme damage, but to the extent that a con man will tell you a lie in a series of spectacular lies that benefit you and what you're going to get out of it. It's always about money. We're going to be so rich. We're taking in all this money. Don't worry about anything. Just come with me. You got to trust me. I'm the president. I'm the guy. Look at me. I drive this BMW. You're going to be rich like me. You want one of these? You want to come on vacation? I got all these resorts. We're going to have a great life together. Come with me. I love you, brother. I'm doing this for you. I'm doing it.
Love bomb the shit out of me there, Dean. Damn, now I want to get into whatever program you're doing. Like what MLM are you running? What is
I
your
don't have
MLM?
I got none. I'm not a con man. I put it on Front Street where you literally watched Donald Trump do that for the first 4 years of his presidency, promising everybody that it's going to go away. Don't worry about it. We're all going to be rich. Now it's so fantastical. It's like it's atmospherically stupid. 17 trillion. You're going to have so much money you never know what to do with. We're never going to have diseases again. Stop taking Tylenol. I mean, holy fuck. It has been such a like if we thought it was bad in the first term in the first 4 years, in the first 9 months, he has been unmasked as not just a fucking con man, but a guy who's literally rotting in front of our eyes with dementia. And if I know something about people with dementia, because I have relatives that have had and have dementia, is they revert to the meanest version of themselves until they get past that point because they're angry, they're confused, they can't remember anything, they're frustrated, they're anxiety, until they got past the point of knowing what's even going on, right? Combine that angry dementia, Alzheimer laden stage that this dickhead is in with his natural disposition, right? Combine both of those things. And this will be the most dangerous year in America's history. Because I think if you get past the first year of this administration, he's going to settle into that, wondering, chasing butterflies stage of where he's at physically and mentally. So you're in for it, I think, for the next several months for sure.
Well, then let's talk about the shadow president, the person who's truly running the show, Stephen Miller,
Oh,
and
yeah.
not JD Vance, because we all know JD Vance isn't running shit. He's couched, he fucks couches, allegedly, and he's just a weird fucking dude. Like, I'm gonna say this because I have friends who know me in the audience specifically, like, and who know that, and I have trans friends in my life and things like this. This is just a comment about JD Vance. He's had more name changes and identity changes than any trans person I've ever met. Like,
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Like his pen name or like
no, he's had
I
like
know he's,
three or four names. Like he's changed
is
his
that his real
name.
name?
JD? No, that's like a newer version. I think it's a shortened version of something. Like he's gone through like three or four names. If the people who talk about him who were vets with him, who served with him, always said he was weird as fuck and shifty and always just like this, I'll do anything sort of person he would suck dick to get into the presidency. And he's the type of guy that would sleep his way to the top. He came out at one point as gay. He used to do he used to do drag at one point. There's pictures of him in drag. Like it's not a like he was a normal dude.
All new to me. All new
He
to
was a
me.
normal fucking dude, kind of, but it was always like he's always been weird in that he fits his person. He's very manipulative and he fits his personality exactly where he needs to be to get the most out of it. But
Oh,
he's
he's a
not the one in
chameleon.
charge. He's
He's a
just a
chameleon.
fucking
Yeah.
tool.
Yeah.
It's Stephen Miller. I want to talk about this little penis and
Pee Wee German.
nah, don't make fun of Pee Wee Herman. Like, don't do that. Don't hurt Pee Wee Herman. It's penis German. He's the
Okay.
little penis German.
Penis German, yes.
Because I don't like Stephen Miller. I talked about this piece of shit a lot. And like he and I are kind of the same age-ish. He's a few years older than me, but he looks like he's dying. Like he looks like just the most evil man. He's got little penis syndrome, maybe even micro dick syndrome. Like he runs around and screams at people like he's never been laid before even though he's married. He also kind of runs around like his wife left him for Elon Musk and became part of that harem there. Um,
Part
and
of his
he's
Space Town harem. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
He's got a whole
like
harem down there. Yeah.
what's going on there? Like is he angry at Elon? Is he angry at us? Is he angry at himself? Like, what do you think about Stephen Miller? I haven't heard you
Obviously,
talk
he's
about him much.
yeah. We I don't talk about him much because, um, and maybe I should actually, because I find him to be so uh absolutely fucking disgusting in every way, shape, or form. You know, every time Stephen Miller opens up his mouth, it's a Joseph Goebbels speech. Let's go back to the Charlie Kirk death rally, the MAGA cult death rally, the aggregation of every aggrieved group in the world, and then the 10, 12 million that they made that day, and the literal 4 hours of hate speech directed at anybody that they want to go after, they want to label Antifa or the left. If you watch that, and I put out a post about it actually, I would encourage everybody to go check it out, deanblundell.substack.com. If you watch that, he gave two specific examples that were directly plagiarized from two Joseph Goebbels speeches. Joseph Goebbels was Hitler's propaganda guy. One was the Horst Wessel speech. Horst Wessel was a Nazi SS sergeant, uh, brown shirt, who was killed by his landlady, literally killed by his landlady for not paying his rent and running a body house like a
Yeah, he
brothel.
was a piece of shit.
Yeah, Horst Wessel was a piece of shit. Horst Wessel was killed by his landlady. She hired a couple of German guys to go and kill him. He's like, go fucking kill that guy. This is in
Take this dude
1930.
out. He's a piece of shit. Get him out of
So
my
what
house.
what Joseph Goebbels did is he turned the death of this disgusting SS Nazi officer into what we saw in Arizona at State Farm Stadium, which was the canonization and of a martyr for the cause and a rallying cry for a holy war. Right? It's exactly what we saw. But in that example, there was a speech. In that speech, he talked about what, and I shit you not, Joseph Goebbels, almost to the letter. You have no idea what you've unleashed. You've unleashed the dragon. You've unleashed the storm. The storm whispered to me, "I am the storm," and I whispered back, "No, I am the storm." To the storm, it was called the storm. That was the name of the speech. It's world famous. And all these historians kind of jumped in when they were watching, these clips come on. They're like, "Oh my God, that is a fucking speech from 1930. That's the Horst Wessel speech." And then he plagiarized the speech from 1933. That speech was, if you remember, Stephen Miller talking about, "You are nothing, you have nothing, you will do nothing, you are a bunch of nothings, you're terrible, we are virtuous, you are not, you are evil, we are great." That's from another speech that Joseph Goebbels used to gin people up in 1933 prior to Hitler becoming the chancellor. I believe it was shortly after or before the Reichstag fire. So, what Stephen Miller represents is nothing more than the fascist Nazi ideology playbook, and he's the new Joseph Goebbels. And I shit you not when I tell you that he plagiarized those speeches, and he literally patterns every response after how the Nazi Party managed to kettle 9 million Germans from 1930 to 1945. And so when you ask me what I think about Stephen Miller, not only do I think he's overcompensating for being a white supremacist and a Nazi, not only do I think he's got a small dick, not only do I think Stephen Miller represents the worst of humanity, I think Stephen Miller represents the worst impulses and instincts of the worst people in the history of humanity. And if given the opportunity, which he's been given the opportunity, he will kill people, which he has. We watched today, just happened this morning, ICE detention facility in
Hmm.
Texas,
Not detention facility, field office.
field office, ICE field office, where a sniper killed two, I believe, migrants, if I'm not
Yeah,
to
so
understand.
yeah, so right now the latest reporting on that, I actually have it pulled up,
Please.
is that two people died, three people were shot. The only people shot were those being held in the ICE detention facility and not any of the ICE law enforcement, not pro-Nazi, whatever, hate people, they did not get shot at. The response from the White House was very quickly, they're shooting at law enforcement, yet nobody in law enforcement was shot at. Only immigrants were, and two have died. One is hospitalized, and the guy shot across the street. And I corrected you, Dean, there on um, hold it or the field office versus detention center because
Please.
people have been talking about that, and I think it's important to have a distinction on that because a field office is more like a police precinct building
Hmm. Hmm.
where they have holding cells, they can talk to you, you go in with your lawyer. It's like an FBI field office, things like that. It's an office building. People are like, how did this person get in? It must have been an insider, like somebody on ICE did it. No, it's an office building in downtown Dallas, basically. A detention center is a prison or a jail. Like, so if this had been a shooting at an ICE detention center, this would be even worse. Like, but this
Mm.
is bad enough. Like, this building was also the threat of a bomb threat or had a bomb threat the other week. Um, so people are mad about ICE and things are brewing in America, but they also haven't released any information about the shooter themselves,
Hmm.
which anytime that I hear that from this administration where they do not release any information about the shooter, the primary assumption is that they were white and right wing. And try and cancel me. I don't work for ABC. I think this person personally, and this is just speculation. So please, everybody, I'm speculating here for a second, is I speculate that this individual was white, was probably either a Groiper or a MAGA member, and was far right in their ideology and just wanted to kill people. Like,
Mm.
and
Mm.
wants to instigate something because they need a false flag. Because here's my theory: is we keep talking about Goebbels and we've talked about the Rockstead or Reichstag fire and like coming into power and consolidating everything and martyrdom. I talked yesterday with a friend. I do a show on that's called Nazi Tuesday, and we do Nazi Thursday stuff, and it's nationalist Christian discussion. I'd love to have you on sometime to talk about your like deconstruction of your faith and or like leaving a very
The
structured.
evangelical movement at the age of
Yeah,
19. Yes, yes, because I
yeah,
realized it was a cult. Yeah, yeah, happy to. More than happy
yeah,
to. Yeah.
and but like they aren't. I don't think they're going to be able to do it with Charlie Kirk. And I want to get your opinion on this, especially around like martyrdom and like silencing of free speech. Is people push back? People push back
Yeah.
really hard and continuing to push back. Like, don't stop boycotting. Boycott Nexstar, boycott Sinclair, every single one of their fucking advertisers. Get off of whatever they are advertising on their networks. Stop paying for them. But what do you feel, or what are your thoughts on if this fails in terms of creating a martyr, because they're trying to martyr and Saint basically make Saint Charlie, is if it doesn't work, what do you think is going to be the next step?
Well, let's great question. And let's finish unpacking, what Stephen Miller has caused because it wasn't just this shooting; it was Charlie Kirk shooting. It's the death and the torture and the detainment of literally tens, maybe hundreds of thousands of legal migrants in the United States, Americans in the United States. He has managed to incentivize and motivate maybe some of the worst human beings in the world to join ICE so they can kick people's asses and steal people's right to fundamental free speech and basic human rights. So, if you wanna ask me again what I think of Stephen Miller, he is, if not the worst fucking piece of shit in the United States, not named Donald Trump at the moment. And the people behind him that have engaged in this process all deserve to be at the Hague. They all deserve to be hit with war crimes. They all deserve to go to fucking jail for the rest of their lives. They all deserve a Nuremberg type experience. And Stephen Miller should be front and fucking center. The sainthood and what they're trying to do with Charlie Kirk, that's a different question. But, is it working? Yeah. Absolutely, it's working. I mean, you watch Jimmy Kimmel last night come back and apologize effectively for saying I did not, and he was very heartfelt. He cried. I didn't mean to make. I wasn't making light of a young man's death. And then he started to push back on free speech. But that man lost a week of his life. That man and people around him questioned whether or not they'd have a fucking job. He took Jimmy Kimmel off the air because he is trying to make it illegal to take Charlie Kirk's name in vain. That's the canonization of an individual. That is America's Horst Wessel moment. We're watching it right now, and it continues. The Nazi Party generated hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, getting people to donate to avenge Horst Wessel. Watched it happen. They signed people up to the Nazi Party. They used it as a drive to get people to join the Brown Shirt and the Hitler Youth Brigade. Da 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 da. What are they doing with Charlie Kirk? The military is considering doing a Charlie Kirk military recruitment drive to fight the leftists and fight. Like, I mean, all of this is very fucking serious. So it's working. What is it? What happens if it doesn't work? Hey, listen, there are a million other distractions. Everything that we're watching today is to distract you from the fact that behind the scenes, Democrats and Republicans who aren't captured by MAGA's imagination and those deadly evangelical dragons have 218 signatures for the Epstein files discharge position in hand. In hand. You had a lady in Arizona win a special election yesterday. Boom. Now you have 218 rumors of 220, 224 people breaking away from the party. This is something you're not hearing about because everything this dickhead is doing, from the canonization of Charlie Kirk to the death cult rally and the call for a holy war, to the 180 he pulled on Ukraine yesterday, where he's like, yeah, let's shoot them all down. Let's go get them. Ukraine, yeah, rah, 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 to the disaster you saw yesterday, to making, escalators be deep state escalators. Everything. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart, is to distract you from the news that's coming out. And it will come out about Donald Trump's name and names of other people like Jeff Staley from Barclays, a Canadian billionaire, the owner of an F1 racing team, several other people, bankers, heads of state, maybe an Israeli prime minister, who are indeed in the Epstein files. That's why you're seeing what's going on with Israel go on with Israel. That's why you're seeing what you're seeing today. It's because that there is something so enormous that's going to come out that, as Teflon Don as he is, you're just not going to run away from that, Mr. Trump. You're just not going to be able to get away from it. I have never seen a narrative not get bullied into the grave by Donald Trump until the Epstein files. And why? Because it's real. And so don't get distracted, because what his entire goal here is, whether it's the canonization of Charlie Kirk, is to find something that works. And again, Charlie Kirk works today, yesterday, last week. It's probably not going to work tomorrow, because the Epstein files are a beast of its own. The victims are coming forward. You have a discharge petition that is coming forward. You have the estate that's allegedly coming forward with more information. You now have an investigation into Tom Holman, who took a bag of $50,000 worth of bribery cash, stuffed it in another bag, and it's all on camera out today going, stop, you're making my life hard. I'm not admitting that I didn't do it, but I'm not saying I did do it, and I'm going to sue as MSNBC. I mean, the walls are coming in. Every wall around.
Incompetence.
Oh my God. The kakistocracy, the lies of the kakistocracy, the lies of the dictatorship, the distraction, the events, everything, the canonization of Charlie Kirk. It is all meant to keep you as far as humanly possible away from being defrauded by the President of the United States in the biggest conspiracy in the history of that beautiful country.
And I want to push a little on that distraction point. Because yes, things are distractions, but also they're real. Like we're not saying they're not serious. There is another one that they are distracting from that we don't ever hear about anymore, and it's the death camp out of Florida, because it was shut down or told to shut down, and then it wasn't. But they did something really weird in their thing. Is they evacuated all the or they moved detainees very, very fast out of the death camp. Alligator Alcatraz, Alligator Auschwitz, whatever they want to call it. It's a death camp.
Hmm.
There have been some reporting, and I call out, like, I ask a lot of times on one of my shows, like, hey, somebody at NASA, please go fucking thermal image what's going on there and give us a recording over the last couple months of thermal imaging. Somebody did, but not from NASA. Somebody, an investigative journalist or an investigator, she did. And there's some really weird hotspots, very concentrated in the middle of the fucking Everglades, 7 miles away from the detention center. There's also almost 1,200 people missing
Hmm.
in the list that
Yeah,
nobody's
1,800
fucking
went in.
talking.
1,800 went in, and there's only 600 left, or something like that.
Yeah, like
Understanding? Yeah.
like they haven't updated the system on where they are. They've either dropped or they've been dropped off of the system. There
Hmm.
were hotspots. And when I say hotspots, thermal imaging, I mean incredibly hot thermal imaging, which they were using medical incinerators not too far away from the detention facility. Could that be not nefarious? Sure. But the way that they responded to it in a congressional pushback and like official policy was, we're not denying that we don't have them. We're just saying that they're not being used nefariously. But they also didn't put in any permits or applications to do that, to put those in. Those medical devices, ovens, are used to incinerate medical waste, brain matter, things like that, like leftovers, so that there's no weird shit going on, like the disease doesn't spread. There's also a possible link to the fact that there's testing of the Neuralink or whatever company that Elon owns for the brain chip that they want to do.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. You think
They
they're doing
need
some
to,
human testing? Hang on, I've got a guy
I
at my
think,
door. Hang on a second. Hey,
yeah,
dude. What's that? Oh, it's fixed. Yeah, yeah. Come on in and check it, though. Yeah. Sorry, sorry.
yeah, no.
This is
Um,
a real moment.
welcome
Next
to
one,
real life,
104.
folks. Is like, and
Well, okay, so let
I'm
me
not
ask you some
saying that they
questions.
are doing it, but I am saying
Right.
there are some weird coincidences in that area because Elon just got permitted to do human testing out of the University of Miami Medical Center, which is not very far from there. They have unreported medical devices and incinerators, and people would be going in for surgeries or coming out of the like medical center and diseases and things like that very rampantly at that detention center. So it's not a
Hmm.
far cry to assume that this administration is going to do the worst thing fucking possible until they're caught. Um,
Listen, I don't doubt that they'll do the worst thing possible until they're caught. I mean, that's Trump's entire MO. Do it and go as far as you can. And when you get charged, claim the Fifth Amendment and then blame everybody else. I'm not saying that at all. That those are interesting side notes. I mean,
yeah,
it's the first that I have heard, but my focus is in other places. The first I have heard about, any type of medical waste or maybe human testing. I mean, it's very interesting. That sits in a cauldron of topics where you're like, ooh, do I go in and touch that or do I not go
yep,
in and touch that? But at the same time, I mean, where are these people, regardless of any type of sleuthing or thermal imaging or dot connecting? Where are 1,200 of the 1,800 prisoners that were kidnapped and disappeared illegally by the Trump administration and thrown in a fucking concentration camp in the Florida Everglades? What is the status of these camps? Because the Everglades and Alligator Alcatraz, that's not one of them. There's several of them. There's one in Arizona. There's one in Michigan. We're not hearing about any of those. We're busy talking about other things. And so, the other things and the distraction for the other things, and here's the thing, and I will give you this, and I think that this is important. much like Trump's, venous insufficiency diagnosis, where they gave you a little bit of information, but you'll never know the entire truth until the dude dies and we have a fucking autopsy of how unhealthy he was.
Hmm.
We're never going to find out about the absolute human atrocities. We're never going to
Yeah.
find out about the crimes against humanity that have been going on in the United States of America, in detention facilities, in Alligator Alcatraz, in concentration camps, on the way to these planes that are disappearing people to Seacot in Uganda and Venezuela and other countries that have willingly taken, American migrants, legal or illegal, or American citizens as human traffickers, as horse traders of humanity. We're never going to find that out until the tanks roll up to the fucking front door and a full accounting and investigation by whatever government, hopefully not one of his, hopefully not a MAGA government, decides that they are going to uncover the disgusting, ugly fucking truth about what actually went on in those facilities.
Yeah. And I want to make sure it's clear. I am not saying that those happen for everyone in the audience. I'm not saying that this is exactly what's happening. It is a theory that has been presented. It is a fairly sound idea. Like it's hard to poke holes into the theory. I linked it in the show in the chat. And I'll send you it just so that you can watch. It's an interesting video.
Yeah,
And she
please. I'd
does a
love to
lot
see
of
it.
work. The individual who does it does a lot of work and is talking about other things going on as well. But this was one of the focus points that I've been talking about is what the fuck's going on in uh, Florida, plus the other death camps that we don't hear about. Like,
Mhm.
we're not talking about these people being killed in concentrated ways in concentration camps that lead to genocide and or a Holocaust. Like, we're on the edge of building our own American Holocaust through an apartheid system.
Mhm.
Um, how do you see us continuing to work together as Americans and Canadians then to fight back? Because I think that's what it's going to take is both us and Mexico to come together as citizens. And I know Mexico's been on the outside of this for a little while, and that's not our focus because neither of us are from there. Um, but how do you think Americans and Canadians can revitalize our relationship of citizen friendship where we value democracy together and work together?
That's such a great question. I don't think that has disappeared in its very essence of what that relationship is, and I think you can judge that by the longing, of most Canadians with the ability to put square pegs in square fucking holes, who can literally nuance that conversation and separate MAG Americans from America. Like I said to start the conversation. How do we work together? I think we're seeing it. I think, for lack of a better term, I think you're seeing the rebel resistance take on the empire now. I think you're seeing that rebel resistance become borderless. I think you're seeing, different outlets and people and individuals and movements all start to have conversations on the democratic side, not on the left side, on the democratic side, not on the centrist or right side, on the democratic side. And because that's the conversation that needs to happen. That's the value. That's the model that we need to all feed into is what is the democratic thing that we can do together. And I have been over the past several months, specifically since I've joined Substack, I've been involved in some really incredible conversations with people like Steve Schmidt, from The Warning, former Bush admin guy, former Schwarzenegger guy who literally walked away from the Republican Party, has been predicting this for 7 to 10 years, and it's all coming to fruition. Everybody should follow him. He's like a soothsayer. He can see he can see the tea leaves. He reads them all. The writings on the wall. He's a smart guy, and he started something called the Save America movement. And the Save America movement's fascinating. It educates, it advocates, and it documents. And what they're doing is they've launched a whole bunch of vans that are following around, and they're labeled following around ice assholes and ice goons, documenting what they're doing. They've involved Reverend Bishop Barber. They've got Steve Schmidt. They've got the state of California has bought in to the education to educate migrants, to give them lawyers, to get them to understand their basic rights, their basic freedoms. And they're documenting everything that this administration is doing, and they're also now putting a big advertising push behind this and getting as many people into the tent as they possibly can. That is going to have, as I understand it, a Canadian chapter. And I can tell you this is that I think it's a brilliant thing because Canada wants to save America too, and so movements like Save America, the guys at Midas, conversations like this, we're seeing this really organic resistance start to be a force multiplier when it comes to really important conversations and critical mass and scale, and people starting to work together and not protecting their brands, instead amalgamating their brands, sharing their messaging, and then amplifying it on behalf of democracy between both of our countries. I said this the other day, and this is one of the statistics, and I love numbers and statistics. I'm a numbers and stats guy. Of the, really modest 33, almost 34,000 Substack followers I have, over three quarters are American. Over three quarters. I've got 120 some thousand on Twitter, I think 24, 25, I don't know. The like 80% are Canadian. And watching the difference but also experiencing the lift and the support of both of those audiences and what people are saying analytically, it, it tells the story about what that game plan and strategy should be, which is what we're just laying out right now, which is lining up, opening up, amplifying, advocating other people who have the ability to A, tell the truth in a way that really matters, B, relate it back to individuals who are struggling in both countries because of what this man is doing and his regime is doing to both countries, to democracy. And the saddest part, and this is what really triggers Canadians, and I think it triggers a lot of Americans who love Canada, because fair-minded Americans love Canada. Fair-minded Canadians love America, is we're now becoming very resentful together over what that dickhead has done to our friendship, our relationship. And so keeping those triggers and those principles in mind, I think that you're going to start seeing the amalgamation and the exploitation in a really good way of the media landscape, influencer, news and information and advocacy hub or ecosystem that supports democracy between both of these two countries. And I'm fortunate enough to be part of some merger conversations, fortunate enough to be part of other conversations when it comes to the increasing footprint of a resistance that works together for the good of the people, for democracy, that does it with character, values, and virtues like courage, wisdom, temperance, justice, all to support democracy, free people, free speech, free decision making, and reasonable limitations where it really fucking matters. And so that's what we should do. That's what we are doing. It's going to be really nice to see some amalgamation of some views into specific sites, specific you did it with Banner and Backbone. But we're going to start seeing more cross pollination, and I can guarantee that because, I'm fortunate enough to have been in some of those rooms. So, man, oh man, we live in a different time, and to be for people like us to sort of be pioneers or be involved in the pioneering of what that looks like. Nothing excites me more, because the end result and what we all want is the same thing, which is the return of this friendship between two countries and the return of America to its original perch as the leaders of the free world that are interested in protecting people, loving people, helping people, and sticking up for people who need it most.
Dean, I love that. Thanks, man. Like, I'm so glad to
Appreciate
be
you
able
being
to
here.
talk to you, brother. And it's really nice to hear that we're not alone, because that's the fear, is that we would be alone and that we don't have support from allies. But we do. We do. Our allies are the people that we care about and our friends that we've made over time. And the relationships that we build. And Canada and the US do have a special relationship. They do have a partnership. We are allies and brothers and sisters and others and cousins of each other. Many of us have Canadian relatives. Many Canadians have American relatives. But we're not the same country. We're unique. We're special in our own ways, and that's what makes us great. But we can cross borders because Dean and I care about one thing in all of this is pro-democracy and human rights, is people
Mhm.
deserve value. Um, and so, Dean, thanks for fucking coming, man. I really appreciate the time. I also look forward to talking to you again here soon, and continuing more discussions around everything that's going on. Everybody probably knows where to find you, but where can they find you, Dean? How can they support your work? Other than just coming in, subscribing to me here, and you is how can they support your work?
You can find me at Mabel's coffee shop in about 5 minutes because I'm going to be get my egg bites around the corner. But no, you can find me at Substack, deanblundell.substack.com, Twitter at it's Dean Blundell as well. But everything's on Substack. Always appreciate followers, always appreciate subscribers, and more importantly, appreciate you allowing me to come into your house and have a conversation. And the fact that not only do we find common ground, but we also kind of bring the temperature down a little bit between our countries and reimagine that original, very special relationship. And I'd push back on something about Canada versus America or Canada loving America. Canada doesn't love America right now, but America isn't what we know America to be. Canada loves Americans. Canada appreciates that relationship. And so, what we try to do at deanblundell.substack.com, we do it every day on the five stack, is to sort of act like Radio Free America, where we have the ability to fill you in on some things that you're not hearing in mainstream media, whether it's the 218 signatures that they have for the Epstein files and the discharge petition, or whether it's the true nature and the reality of what you're going through, maybe some things that certain mainstream media outlets are too afraid to talk about or share with everybody for upsetting the giant orange dickhead. But more importantly, we're here to really kind of solidify that bond between both of our countries. And we do that through information, accurate information, but we also do it by having a good laugh. Listen, part of this is if you can't start laughing at how fucking ineffectually stupid your president is at some point, like yesterday, I could not stop fucking laughing at how ridiculous Donald Trump looked trying to go up the escalator, how he's blaming the deep state. And they're all calling for the arrest of whatever
White House
American slash
staffer did it.
UN globalist turned off the teleprompter.
Dumbass White House staffer.
So
Or
have a
hero.
laugh at it,
Hero.
mock it, but know that Canada's not going anywhere and we love you all. So thanks for having me, brother.
Yeah, thanks, Dean. Everybody in the audience, thanks for showing up. Appreciate y'all. This will be live here in about half an hour, 40 minutes. For anyone who wants to rewatch, please share, restack, subscribe, become paid subscribers to both of us. We appreciate it. And Dean, we'll talk to you again soon, brother. Thanks, man.
Okay, my man. Be good.
Thanks, y'all.